Good morning, my name is Sarah. Welcome to BizTown and thank you so much for being a volunteer today. We have you in the construction company and it's going to be a fun one and we couldn't make this day happen without you. So again, thank you for being here. I'm going to give you a lot of information and it may seem like a little bit overwhelming, but everything you need to know is written down in different places throughout the business. And the good news is there will be a few of us running around, and if you need help, you can always ask questions. First of all, I'd like to refer you to the Blue Volunteer Guide. This is everything you're going to need as an adult volunteer throughout the day. And the schedule is also on the bulletin board over here that you can't see necessarily on camera, but it gives an approximate time frame for each of the steps that we're going to go through today. The times are approximate, but you'll always know where we are because we will get on the microphone and instruct everybody when we're going from one phase to the next. So throughout the day, the first thing we're going to do is have a little welcome meeting when the students get here. They'll sit outside the business and we'll get things kicked off. Then you will go immediately into team meeting 1. You'll have 4 team meetings. So the meetings that we have out in the town for all of the businesses together are called town meetings, and the ones where you come in with just your team in the business are called team meetings. During team meeting 1, you're going to give your students, or they will soon be known as citizens of BizTown, a colored sticker to tell them when to go on their break, which is outlined also on the bottom of the schedule of red, yellow, or green based on their job title. They all know what their job title is when they come to BizTown because they have worked through all of that at school in their preparation before this big day. After that first team meeting, you have several steps in your volunteer book refers to an employee handbook. That's not necessarily a book anymore. What we've done is taken these yellow sheets and dispersed them throughout the business to give each citizen their job duties. Immediately after that first team meeting, your CEO has a speech to prepare on a pink laminated sheet. They will just fill in the blanks and have that ready to read when we go into the first town meeting, which happens a little bit later, about 20 or 30 minutes later. The CEO then continues to follow the bullet points on their yellow sheet, which includes drawing a fire escape plan with each of the 14 businesses. They will simply walk around town and with their pencil draw approximately how the students would get out in the event of a fire. So that's on their list of duties to do. The CFO, after the first team meeting, will go over to the computer, and their first job is to get the business set up. They come from school with a blue folder called a Biz Prep folder, and it includes their loan amount. So all businesses have a business loan at the beginning of the day, and their job is to pay that loan off by the end of the day. In the construction business, there are 3 payments that you will get as a business in order to pay that loan off. So a successful day includes getting a $75 check after the bench is built, which I'll get into a little bit more later. They get another check from the insurance company as a reward check. And the third means is by doing renovations. So I'll go through that a little bit more later. But the first step for the CFO is to get that loan amount put in and then begin building the employees and payroll checks for all of the employees just in the construction company. Those instructions are in the CFO directions binder very clearly, steps 1 through 12. It's very easy for them to follow. It has pictures of point and click. If they do have questions, we're of course around for them. They should go to you first as the adult volunteer, and then if you still can't figure it out, come get us. Should be pretty self-explanatory, steps 1 through 12 in there. Additionally, throughout the day, the CFO will be getting invoices from other businesses because some of the other businesses pay off their loan by invoicing you. We have, I believe, 8 other businesses that bill out to you for distribution services, insurance, healthcare services, the technology shop, all of those things bill out, and the CFO will need to write checks. Those instructions are in the binder going after your payroll instructions. And so those steps are, again, very clear in there. They will produce checks in the computer, and with the bottom portion of the invoice, take them back to the other businesses to help those businesses pay off their loan. So the CFO will be spending a fair amount of time over at the computer. Your other employees in here include a product engineer, a tradesperson, and a project manager. The project manager will draw a picture of approximately how this bench is going to be built out in the park. So as a team, this bench will be in the park out in the middle of BizTown, but the project engineer should draw up the plan of how that's going to be done on their graph paper. In the meantime, the product engineer and the tradesperson will be taking an inventory of all the bench parts, and there's a list here of that, and the screws and things like that that help assemble the bench are included as well. A picture of how the bench is going to go together is over here. There are no written instructions. They simply have a picture and a short description at the top. It's been built many, many times and without any written instructions, so we're pretty sure that it will be a successful building again. Before the bench can be built, there is a building permit that comes from City Hall. They display that, beautiful. They display that building permit in this little sign, and they set up the construction site with these poles, make a square with the 4 poles, and the tape. We do use and reuse the caution tape, so after you're done with it, we just ask that you roll it back up, and they try to make the space as neat as they can for a safe working environment. They have these handy dandy hard hats, safety goggles, and work vests that they can wear while they are building the bench as well. The bench gets built in the morning before we have our midday meeting. So an approximate time would be by noon, but that's just an approximation. So they should build that before we have our midday meeting. At the midday meeting, they will be rewarded the grant money if the bench is completed. So that's something for them to look forward to. Another means that I mentioned for the construction company to pay off their loan is to do renovations. This tub of materials will come from distribution in the morning, and it includes paperwork for the project manager and any other employees to help him or her go around and get ideas from the other businesses of what they would like for renovations. Renovations including carpet options, paint samples, trim, other things that they can do. So they fill out these forms, which are front and back. On the back is some math for them to do to come up with the approximate cost for those renovations. The project manager does not need to do every single business, but we do need to see some effort for them to have gone to multiple businesses and have that paperwork filled out. Once it gets into the afternoon and they feel like they've done as much as they can, as we're getting too close to the end of the day, they can bring this to one of us on the BizTown staff. We will take a look at it, and if they have successfully completed the paperwork, they will get a check from JA BizTown to help them further pay off their loan. There will be, as I mentioned, people coming in, giving invoices to you. Those go into the CFO inbox, one thing I forgot to mention. And as we are doing a lot of paperwork when they're cutting out paychecks and cutting those invoices, there's a recycle bin, which they can also use. So for the construction business, they will be building the bench, and then they will tear it down towards the end of the day. So as we're getting towards the end of the last break of the day, they will be able to disassemble it and put it back on the cart and bring it back here. They will take down the caution tape and the work site again and bring everything back into the construction business. So with that, I believe I've given you the information that you need to have a great day at BizTown. If you have questions, feel free to ask us, and we look forward to being around having fun today. Thank you.